Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today I'm going to be doing a makeup tutorial on this look right here for you guys, but before I get started I do want to go ahead and just do a quick little backstory for you as to why I decided to start a YouTube channel in the first place. Makeup is something I've always loved, but I didn't truly fall in love with the artistry of it until just a few years ago. I love learning about it, I love learning new things, it's just truly became my passion, and I just wanted to really share that with you guys. You know, over the last few years when I started to really get into it more and more, a lot of friends, family, and people that I worked with complimented me and, you know, asked me how I do things and asked for help. And, you know, now that I live across the country is definitely another reason why I kind of decided to do this as well, you know, to help out people that I'm definitely, you know, obviously not there for anymore. Thank you so much for watching, and if you want to see how I got this makeup look, then just keep watching. Okay, so now that I've got you guys zoomed up, we're going to go ahead and start on the eyes. So the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and prime the lids, and I just like to use whatever concealer that I'm using for the day to prime my lids. It's just a personal preference of mine. I just personally feel like it provides a little bit more coverage and lasts a little bit longer, but you can use whatever. I just use my fingers. If you use your fingers, just make sure they are clean because you don't want to spread any bacteria or anything like that to your eyes. And then we're going to go ahead and set the primer on our lids, and you can use anything, a translucent powder or some sort of face powder or even an eyeshadow. I just kind of use whatever I have on hand at the moment. It doesn't really matter, but whatever you do use, just make sure that it's your skin tone or lighter. Make sure it's not any darker, or else it's just going to be a blended mess. It's going to look dirty and muddy, so we don't want that. So I'm just going to use some face powder. I'm going to use the Laura Mercier Loose Translucent Setting Powder, and I'm just going to dip a flat brush into it, and I'm just going to pat that onto the lid everywhere all the way up to the brow bone. And always make sure that you set it, because it's going to make our blending job so much easier in the long run. It's a lot easier to blend a powder on top of a powder than a powder on top of a cream. So today, for this look, I'm going to use the Morphe 350 palette, and this is my go-to all-time favorite palette. It looks like this. It just has the most amazing warm shades in here, and there's beautiful mattes, amazing shimmers, and it's just, I love these warm tones. So I'm going to do just kind of like one of my go-to looks, but I think I'm going to add a little bit extra to it today. So I'm going to first grab the Morphe R37 brush. It's just a big fluffy brush to apply our first transition shade, and I'm going to go in with this shade right here, and I'm going to just start that in the crease here. I'm not going to be too precise, I'm just going to kind of go back and forth in windshield micro motions, and then once most of the product is off of my brush, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to blend in circular motions upward. Maybe add a little bit more. So I'm going to go with my next transition shade. I'm going to use the Morphe, what is this, M518, and it's just slightly smaller than the other brush. You might not even be able to tell on camera. It's a little more dome shaped than the one we just used. And I am going to go in with this shade right here. It's just a nice warm burgundy brick shade, if you will. I'm just going to go not so crazy, a little more of a controlled hand. And like with the other brush, since I kind of didn't care so much, I wasn't as precise as to where the product was going, so I held it at the end and just kind of like with a light hand and just let it go. But since I want a little bit more control of the brush, I'm going to hold it closer, almost like a pencil. And I'm just going to do the same thing, windshield wiper motions, just a little bit lower than the color we just applied. And it's okay if you get a little bit on the lid, because we're just going to clean that up later anyway. Same thing on the other eye, just a little bit lower than that first shade that we put on. And windshield wiper motions. I'm going to use the Morphe M433, and I'm going to pick up this shade that's even lighter than that first transition shade, and I'm going to use this very light orange shade. I'm going to pick up a light amount, not much at all, and I'm going to use this color to blend over everything that we just did, just to make sure that we have no harsh lines and that everything's blended together really nicely. So with that same brush that we just used, the Morphe M433, I'm going to pick up a shade that's just slightly darker than the one that we just used, the second transition shade that we used. So this is the one we used. I'm going to actually go in with this one, which on camera you might not be able to tell the difference, but it's just a tad bit darker. So I'm going to pick a generous amount up, but I'm still going to tap off the excess, and I'm going to pack that into the outer corner. The R37, add no product to it at all, and just blend. Make sure no harsh edges, just blend it nicely. The M518, which is what we used for our second transition shade, this shade right here, and I'm going to go back in with the same brush with that same shade and do the exact same thing. Just go right back in to where we did. I just want to intensify it a little bit more, because I feel like we lost a little bit of that color when we went and blended, so I just want to add a little bit more intensity to the crease. That same brush, the R37, I'm going to go back in with that shade that we used earlier to buff out and blend. I'm going to use that same light orange color, not a lot of it, and I'm just going to go really high and really lightly. Right above where all our crease shades are, just kind of buff them out to make sure there's no mess. Alright, so now we're going to go in with the star of the show. These are the Stila Magnificent Metal Glitter and Glow Liquid Eyeshadows. Oh my god. These things are amazing. If you haven't seen them, they are to die for. They just changed the game for applying glitter. I'm going to go in with the shade. This is Rose Gold Retro, and I'm just going to use the wand to just put it straight on the eye. Oh, it's so pretty. So I'm going to go in, starting at the inner corner, and I'm going to go in about 75% of the way. I'm not going to go all the way in. I'm going to right about there. And they do dry. They go on wet because it is a liquid, but it does dry down. So now that it's dry, I'm going to go back in with the Morphe M433 brush, the one that we packed that dark color on the outer corner, and I'm going to grab a little bit more, but not as much. Just like really light-handed. And I'm just going to lightly touch it over that harsh line to see where it's just glitter and then it's shadow. You know what I mean? So we're going to lightly pat it. Maybe not. Maybe I'll move it a little bit because this glitter is like intense. So there we go. Just kind of make it look to where it's not so harsh. It just kind of like is so bright, and then it just kind of diffuses into the rest of the shadow. You know what I'm saying? That's the look we want. Do the same thing over here. And another great thing about it is there's no fallout with the glitter. I mean, when they dry, if you like touch it, obviously, you'd have fallout, but don't do that. I'm going to use this brush right here. This is a Tweezerman brush. It's technically a shader brush, but I'm not going to do that with it. So I'm going to pick up that same color, that deep burgundy shade that we've been using on the outer corner, and I'm going to pick up a little bit more, and I'm going to pack it a little bit more. So I'm going to go ahead and do some liner, except I'm not actually going to use liner. Most of the time I don't use liner. Instead, what I do is I use a shadow, and I'll show you how I do it. I use an angled brush, and this is just the Luxie 215. Just a small little angled brush. And I'm going to go into that same palette, and I think I'm going to use this shade right here. It's just a really dark chocolate brown. I'm going to pick up some. I'm not going to dig into it. I'm just going to tap into it just to get a little bit of what I need, and I'm going to press. I'm not going to drag. I'm just gonna press where I want my liner, and I personally want it as close to my lash line as possible, so I'm just going to press it in all the way down. I just like this so much better. I feel like I have so much more control over where everything's going. You know what I mean? It's just too pretty. Alright, and then I'm going to go ahead and curl my lashes. And I'm going to apply some lashes. I'm going to use the House of Lashes Spellbound Lashes. I'm going to go ahead and apply those, and I'll be right back. Okay, so now that we have our lashes on, we can go ahead and start with the rest of the face. So first I'm going to go in with my face primer. This is the Dr. Brandt Pores No More Primer. It just fills in all your pores and makes your skin look super flawless. I'm just going to rub that into the skin. And whatever, you know, issues you have with your skin, you know, everybody's different. Everyone has different issues and different skin. You may want to use a different primer. For me personally, I have large pores, so I would like something that would fill those in or cover them up. You know, they have ones for redness, dry skin, oily skin, you know, whatever you fancy. Alright, so for foundation today, I'm gonna use the Urban Decay All Nighter foundation. It says it's waterproof. I have no idea if that actually works like that or not. And I'm gonna go in with my Morphe M439 foundation brush. And personally, I know a lot of people use beauty sponges like the Beauty Blender or, you know, what have you, but I just personally love how a nice, dense, synthetic brush feels on the skin. Like, I feel like it just does the job so much better, and I get so much better coverage from it. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead with that. And for the most part, I do kind of like to press it into my skin. I feel like it lasts a bit longer when you do that. Just buff it out. And do make sure that you get your ears really well, because you don't want them to be different colors, and to get your jawline really well as well, because everyone has seen that person with that straight line between their foundation and their skin, you know what I'm saying? And it ain't cute. No one's pulling that look off. I'm not gonna bring my foundation all the way up to my under eyes, because we're just gonna put concealer there in a bit anyway. And I don't want to put a lot of product on there. I don't want to weigh them down. And yes, my foundation is a little bit different color than my skin on my face, but that's because I'm matching it to my neck, not my face. So now that that is blended, I'm going to go in with my concealer. And I've gone back and forth with concealer so much, but I feel like nothing is better than this one. This is my all-time favorite concealer. It's really nice. I feel like medium to full coverage. It is the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer, and it is, it's so amazing. Oh my gosh, I love it so much. I'm going to conceal my under eyes. I'm going to start right here, and I'm going to bring it all the way down to that curve under my nose, because I get redness there, and actually most women do. It's caused by hormones. Just put it like that. I don't want it to go right up to my under eye, because like I said, I don't want a ton of product there. I'll just blend it up there in a minute. And I like to go all the way up here, because I feel like it gives that awake look, you know, once it's all blended out. I'm going to do the same thing over here. And when you pick a concealer to brighten up your under eyes, depending on what you're going for, some people want something super natural, and so if that's the case, you will only want something, you know, one shade lighter than your skin tone. But I like to go just a couple shades lighter. I'm gonna wake myself up a little bit. And what we're doing right now, I'm going to have the Cupid's bow, bridge of my nose, my forehead, and a little bit on my chin as well. And since we're brightening the under eyes, we want to balance out the rest of the face. So I'm going to go in with the Morphe E9 brush. It's just a little, I honestly have no idea what this brush is made for, but this is what I use it for. And I'm just going to go in and buff out my concealer. And when you buff out your concealer, whatever you use to buff it out, whether it is a brush, whether it's a brush or a beauty blender, always make sure you go back and forth motions. You don't just go one way, because if you just do it one way, it will settle into your fine lines, and that's kind of what we're trying to prevent. And also make sure you're doing pouncing motions. Whatever you use, make sure you're doing pouncing motions. If not, don't ever sweep it, because it's not going to be a nice blended finish when you're done. So now we're going to go ahead and set our under eyes and the concealer that we just put on. So I'm going to use the RCMA No Color Powder, I think it's called. This is obviously not the packaging it came in. I put it in here because the packaging it comes in, I hate it. I love the product, it's amazing. I love setting my under eyes with this. I feel like it just makes your skin look so flawless, sets it so great, nothing's moving, and it even fills in my fine lines. But the packaging is just so messy, so I just went and bought a little dollar store thing with the lid and put it in there, so I always forget what it's called. So I'm going to use the Morphe E4 brush. So I'm going to set my under eyes and just pounce it, just like how we've been doing everything else basically. Set those under eyes, and you always want to make sure you set your under eyes. If not, your concealer will move during the day and it'll be a hot mess. And whatever's left on that, I just like to tap it on my chin and my cupid's bow, and I like to grab a little bit more. I always tap it off a lot because when I dip it in, you pick up so much. I'm just going to tap it up here. I've got lines, fun lines on my forehead. So this helps fill them in a little bit, which I enjoy. Alright, and then whatever's left on my brush, I bring it down to my nose, and I also bring it to the sides of my nose as well. I just do my whole nose, right there. Alright, so now to set the rest of my face, I'm actually going to use a different powder. Made some a little high maintenance, I know, but I'm going to use the Laura Mercier No Color Translucent Powder, and I think that's what it's called. Loose setting powder. Whatever. I'm going to use that. I don't like to use this to set my under eyes. I know a lot of people do, but I don't. For me personally, I feel like it just looks cakey on my under eyes, which I obviously don't like. So, but I do like it for the rest of my face, and I feel like the RCMA powder it changes the color of my foundation too much for the rest of my face, and I don't want that. So I feel like this powder does what I want it to do for the rest of my face. So to set the rest of my face, I'm going to use this big fluffy brush. This is the Morphe E44, and I love this brush. It's so soft and so nice. So I'm going to just dip into that, tap off a little bit of excess. I'm just going to, tap it over the rest of my face. So now I'm going to go ahead and contour my cheekbones a little bit. I'm going to use the Makeup Forever Pro Fusion Bronzer. It looks like this. This is in the shade 151. I'm going to use, I think I'm going to use this brush. This is the Morphe R10. You should have realized at this point, I love Morphe brushes. They're kind of great, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? It's not just because the price is on point, like they're so affordable. It's really, that's not why. I mean, it's nice, obviously, but they feel so luxurious, and they're so nice, and I love them so much. Alright. So I'm going to use I honestly have no idea what this brush is. This is not a Morphe brush, so my rant just looks retarded now. But this is, I have no idea what this brush is. I've had this brush for years. It's technically a flat top, like, foundation buffer brush. It has no name. I honestly don't remember where I got it or who it's by. When I contour, I always start right here at the tip of the ear. And I don't, with other brushes you can, shade onto your skin, but I like to pounce this brush too. And I come down towards the corner of my mouth. Not all the way though. I stop about 75–80% of the way down. I'm going to go ahead and do the temples of the forehead as well. Kind of just going to do the perimeters of your face. And I do just a little bit. I don't like do this whole side right here. I just do the edges. Same thing up here as well. And I'm also going to do up in the hairline up here. Now I'm going to bronze the skin up. So I'm going to use the Urban Decay Beach Bronzer to bronze up the skin. But this is what I use to contour. It's very cool toned. And now that they're side by side, you can probably tell a little bit better. But this is what I use. Okay, so this is what I use to contour the skin. It's a nice cool tone bronzer. And then I go in with a warm tone bronzer to blend all of that out. And personally, like, I know a lot of people don't do it this way, but for me, I just feel like it looks so much more natural and just like sun-kissed. I'm gonna use the Morphe M527. It's a nice fluffy brush. So I'm going to dip into that Urban Decay Beach Bronzer, and I'm just going to go over that. Sides and my forehead as well. Same places that we did earlier, and I might even do just a little bit on the jawline now that we're done bronzing the skin. I'm going to go ahead and do my brows. I'm just going to do them off camera real quick, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so now that my brows are done, I'm going to go ahead and finish the under eyes. I'm going to grab this pencil brush right here. This is the Morphe E36. It's just a nice little round pencil brush. And first I'm going to go in with that very first transition shade that we used in the crease. This light orange shade right here. And basically, whenever I smoke out my lower lash line, I just mimic what I did in the crease. And I'm just going to blend that out. And I bring it down a little ways, like, I don't know if you can actually see. Maybe I'll zoom in a little bit more. Okay, since I brought you in a little bit closer, I'm going to try and show you a little bit better. Alright, so when I go in, I'm bringing it down a little ways. I'm not keeping it super close to the lash line. I'm kind of bringing it down a little bit because personally I like a really smoked out lower lash line. It's this brush right here, this Morphe M432. So I'm going to dip into this burgundy shade, the second transition shade that we used in the crease, and I'm going to stamp it like so close to the lash line, okay? Like really close. I'm going to go back in with that pencil brush, and I'm just going to, with no more product on it, I'm not going to put any more product onto the pencil brush, just whatever of that orange shade was still left on it. And I'm going to blend it out. So now I'm going to line the waterline. I'm going to use the Marc Jacobs creamy gel liner, I think it's called, in the shade Black. And now I'm going to put mascara on the lower lash line. I'm just going to use the L'Oreal Original Voluminous Mascara. Put the lower lashes. I'm going to go ahead and highlight the inner corner and the brow bone. This is the Morphe M213, and this is just such a beautiful shade to do that. I know you can't really tell what it looks like in the pan, so hopefully you'll be able to see it once I put it on. So I'm just going to pop that up there nicely. Helps clean it up a little bit too, in case you got a little messy with your shadows. A little bit more. There we go. Now we're going to go ahead and do some highlight. This is by Urban Decay. It's a highlight by Urban Decay, but it looks like this. This is a crown brush. It's just like a nice duo fiber brush. I don't know the number or the actual name of it, but I'll find it for you guys. Any product or brush or anything that I'm using in my video, I'll find it and link it down below. I'm going to list everything down below in the description box and link it as well, so it's just super easy for you to find. Do it mostly on the cheeks, but also up on my cheekbone as well. Now I'm going to go in with another highlight, the Morphe M510 brush. I'm going to go in with the Becca Cosmetics and Jaclyn Hill collaboration, Champagne Pop. I don't even know if I can show you this because mine shattered and it was a really sad day because it's my favorite highlighter of all time. But maybe I can you see it? Can you see it? It's really sad. And I'm just going to basically go over the same thing we just did. I'll tip my nose. My Cupid's bow. So I'm going to actually go up a little bit in like an upside down C shape on my temples right here. I just feel like when it catches the sunlight, it's just a nice, like, pretty glow. Oh! I just spilled more of my champagne pop. I'm just going to do just a little bit on my chin. I'm going to go in with the Too Faced Melted Matte Liquid Lipstick. Looks like this. This is in the shade Child Star, and it's just a nice, pretty, pinky nude. Isn't that a pretty color? A NYX Butter Gloss. Their butter glosses are super nice. This is in the shade Creme Brulee. I'm just gonna put it on top of that. There you go. Alright guys, and this is the finished look right here. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really enjoyed it, and if you enjoyed watching the video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave. And if there's anything that you want to see, or any comments that you have, or any questions that you even have, comment down below, because I'd love to hear what you guys think, or you know, if you have any suggestions on something that you want me to film, like I'd love to do that too. So make sure you do that before you go, and thank you so much for watching. Like, I had a lot of fun today, so I will see you in my next video. Bye!